Okay, what we have here is a number of different types of white clover. And these are all considered either giant or ladino strains or intermediate strains, which is a hybrid between Dutch white clover and ladino type clover. Ladino clover is about 3 times as productive as the Dutch white clover. We do use quite a bit of Dutch white clover as a ground cover for vineyards or vegetable crops. It's very non-productive, low-growing, but it's persistent, and people that want a perennial ground cover but don't want to have to mow or manage that vegetation really like Dutch white clover. Very tough, very effective for that purpose. For pasture purposes, however, I would tend to stray away from Dutch white clover types and towards either the ladino or the intermediate types. This is the typical ladino here. This middle one here is Louisiana S1, more heat tolerant clover, and this one is Renovation, which came out of the Noble Research Foundation. Now, you can see they're very similar plants where they have water. But if you pan around, and guys, if you can get your camera over there and see, look at the middle one there. The Louisiana S1 just did not, what we're looking at over there is, that's where our sprinkler, our center pivot sprinkler did not reach. So that is true dry land. This has been irrigated, and you can see the difference in the establishment and the production of especially the Renovation formed a very good stand, seemed to tolerate the dry conditions much better than the other white clovers. And that's one reason we're very excited about the Renovation white clover compared to the others. White clover as a species is kind of the standard for forage quality among legumes. It has a higher protein content and a higher digestibility than any other legume. I mean, it's just exceptional when it comes to forage quality. That's one reason that people really like it for deer food plots. High calcium content, high protein content, high attractiveness rating to deer because of its extreme palatability. Very nutritious, builds good antlers. One other advantage of the white and ladino clovers is that it spreads by stolons. That's these little runners that creep along the ground and take root every so often. And so a thin stand of ladino clover or any other white clover over time will thicken up and fill in. And one reason that people like it as a living mulch, you can see there is no room for a weed seedling to get started in here. So it's very competitive against weeds, but not very competitive against other established forage grasses. So it's really I try to put a little bit of a ladino or white clover in just about every forage mix I establish. About a pound or so an acre is plenty. Doesn't cost very much, and you can see there is not a single photon of wasted sunlight that's striking this. Every little bit of sunlight is being utilized. You mix this with some taller forage species, you get a really effective canopy. This never seems to detract from the yield of the other components. It only adds yield to the system. Not very high tonnage by itself, doesn't have very good drought tolerance or heat tolerance, but it always fills in the gaps that the other species leave between them.